Hey guys, hear me out here. I finally got a hold of who runs Task, Insight, all that. His name is Michael Gray. He can be reached at 1-336-407-7652. Also, his email is mgray@insightnc.org. Um, I get really nervous when I'm talking on the phone, and he got very defensive when I called him and asked him questions. He claimed that people aren't made to miss work. He claimed that I was asking everything inappropriately. I was asking it the wrong way. He just didn't like, and he wanted names. Now, mind you, folks, people that are required to go to task and all that, they're intertwined with probation. Okay? And, piss off the wrong person, they can violate you. Whether y'all think that's real, it is. It's very real. So this person really doesn't want to just say a name, but yesterday, this person was, the sole purpose to go to task was to take a urinalysis. And when he was told that there were no more urinalysis for that day that were available to come back next week. And this is what I told Mr. Gray, and he got very upset at the fact. He's like, well, this is not what we're about. This is not policy. Okay, I'm telling you this is what happened, but he wanted specifics. And I get that to a degree, but I don't to a degree. If somebody calls you with a complaint, it should be heard. And he got very standoffish very quickly. I mean, yes, I didn't come at him completely correct, okay? I didn't blah, 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 blah. No, I didn't. And that's not my strong suit, and I do apologize. But nonetheless, my concerns shouldn't have been met with, I can't believe how you asked this question. I just can't. And then went in to ask, are people being made to go to these meetings that don't have drug charges and having to pay? Because I was under the impression that that was the case. He got very upset at that fact. He said that is not the case. That is not policy. So I am just concerned there a little bit, and want to find out the answer to that question. If anybody has had inappropriate, you know what I'm saying? If you're working, and like I asked him, if you're working, why would anybody want you to miss work? That's not what recovery is about. Recovery is about, somebody getting their butt up, going to work, and paying their bills. That should be the number one priority of probation, task, anyone. And I cannot understand for the life of me why that is not their number one priority. They say it is, but saying and doing is two different things. If you physically make somebody get off work to go sit in a meeting, they're going to be more worried about the day they're missing of work and the money they're missing, and they're going to try to figure out you're pushing them back to their old ways. If you're deliberately trying to help this person, you wouldn't make them take off work. If they verifiedly have a job and they work from X to X, wouldn't you think the system would have things like tasks that are open on weekends for the people that work, or open extended hours for people that work? That is also not the case. They claim that they are, but most of these places have no availability after 6 o'clock and no help on the weekends. Now, you cannot tell. Now, yes, are there people that can benefit from that? Yes, people that don't have jobs, blah, blah, blah. Yes, they are those. But there are also those in recovery and on probation that do work. And you're setting them up for failure when North Carolina is a fire at will state. They don't have to have a reason. And for the life of me, I cannot wrap my head around these people in positions at B want to get mad when people, why should I have to have a direct name? Why? Why at the powers that be, why can't I just call you and be like, hey sir, this is happening, I've seen multiple cases of this. Can you look into, he ain't got to have a rule book. All you got to do is go back to the county and look at who they're serving and look at up their charges. It's not rocket science. I mean, I just want to know if people are being sentenced to do this that don't have drug charges. Or if, why are they, if they claim they want to help the person in recovery, why do we not have any Saturday clinics? Why? It's not for the convenience of the person that's working in recovery. And I get it, there's some things that should be, inconvenient. But in today's economy, can you miss a day's worth of work? I mean, ask yourself. You're on the other side of the screen. Can you miss a day's worth of work in today's economy? Now imagine that somebody missing a day's worth of work that's trying to pay restitution, trying to make sure all their bills are paid on time, trying to, lead a different life on top of all of that. What do you think? Use your brain up here. There should be, if you meet certain criteria and you're working, you should not be asked to come into no appointment for nothing that has to, no. Probation or task can call these employers, hey, is such and such at work today? How they been doing? That's what community corrections should be about. Be like, hey, is so-and-so at work today? How are they doing? What do you think? Blah, blah, blah. Look at these employers too. And, if the person is truly going to work, then yes, let's go, rock star. He's not out here, or she's not out here running these streets. They're actually at work, trying to provide for their families. That's what community probations and task and all these folks should be about. Not Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Or 8:30 to 5. Sometimes 6. And they get so offended when you bring a problem to them. So offended.
Well, that's not what we stand about. And how dare you ask me this way?
Really? And that's the problem. Like, everybody gets offended. But they all want them to do right? Like, you want them to get out on probation and you want them to behave. You want them to go work a 9 to 5. You want them to be productive members of society. But yet, when people are being done wrong, when they want to, and they're afraid to speak out, I wonder why people are afraid to speak out. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't bode well for them. And anybody on paper knows what it is to have something ripped out from underneath you with a clerical error or somebody with an attitude. And that's why I want to bring light to these things, but it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating when you have people that they're in these positions, they get paid this, and they just blah blah blah. They just, oh my God, how dare you? Like, he was so offended that I had a problem. So offended. And I don't get it. Why are you offended? Why are you mad at how I asked the question? It doesn't matter how it's asked, and I didn't ask it disrespectfully. I just didn't lay it out like he wanted it to be. And that's, to me, is a problem. But we can't fix these problems because nobody truly cares enough to say, you know what? Yeah, it works, but it's not good enough. And that's what community corrections should be about. You should grow with your community. What makes that community run better? Let me ask you, the tax-paying citizen. Wouldn't you rather the person on probation to work 5 days a week? Wouldn't you rather them be at work so they didn't have to file for food stamps to get help? Because every day that person misses, they got children, they got bills to pay just like you do. Just like everybody watching this video, we all have bills to pay. Some of us have better lives than others. But I trust and believe there are people out here trying to right their wrongs. But the government, probation, task, and people like that in positions of power don't want them to do it. They don't. They want to,
come here. I need to take more money off of you. No, come here.
And that's exactly what it is. He got so mad when I said the lady didn't have any drug tests yesterday. Or day before yesterday. Well, no, that ain't the case. Well, it was. Well, I need to know names. Why? All you should need to know is that it happened. And why are these programs so hard and difficult? I just don't get it. I really don't. And yet again, let me reiterate. For the ones that aren't working or that work a job that they're off during the week, that is one thing. Like if you're working a McDonald's and you work night shift or morning shift and you got time off during the week, that is one thing. But this is for the blue collar folks. These are for the people that are working construction jobs, having to be up at the crack of dawn and can't just take off a day when they're on a truck. They just can't go into work. That's what I'm talking about. When these men are truly working and trying to provide for a family. That's what I'm talking about. Now, if you have a job where you can get off, that is one thing. But I'm talking about blue collar men that work Monday and sometimes Saturday, out here putting in wells, putting up drywall, doing plumbing, doing whatever it may be. Those type of fellas. They can't walk around with a phone. They can't walk around with this. They can't do that. I mean, you know what I mean? They're out here busting their balls to work, man. And people that support people in recovery should not support this type of behavior out of people in positions of power. Because this right here is why people fail every time. If they don't have a strong core around them to lift them up. They don't have God with them. And if somebody's new walking in recovery, new walking as a free man, you know how hard that is to change that mentality from being inside to being out here? Inside, you get beat for anything. You sleep with one eye open. To change that mentality out of folks and have them, realize that you can live life, you can come out here and be successful, you can pay your bills, you can pay a car payment, you can do this, you can do that. You just have to change your ways. Come on now. I can get behind that. An addict that used to never work a day before in their life, all they was worried about was getting high. Now that addict is working 5 and 6 days a week. And you mean to tell me some task office needs them to come in and miss days worth of work just because they can't have drug tests on standby like they're supposed to? I don't get on board with that. I don't. I'm all about recovery. And if I offended Mr. Gray, if I offended you, sir, I'm very sorry. And like I said, I apologize. But I get tongue twisted. And everybody that knows me knows my heart's in the right place. And when somebody comes with you as a concern, sir, it shouldn't matter if they have names. The problem is, you had a problem that I even called to begin with. Alright, guys, I really want y'all to think on that. I really want y'all to start marinating on that and thinking. And if you know anybody that's been affected by the system, please reach out. You can still remain anonymous. I just need to get people on, to talk about it, to write a statement. Because we've got to change the narrative. We've got to change to want to help people. And there can't be this many stumbling blocks, folks. There can't be. And there just can't be. I love y'all guys so big, so much. Know one thing, if you don't know nothing at all, God loves you and I do too. Peace out.